order shortly here. All right, so it's 6:30. I'll call this meeting to order. And then we're going to hopefully head into closed session. So I would entertain a motion. And if whoever moves could read it on there? Let's see, you guys probably don't have a copy of that, huh?
The closed session explanation,
Yeah,
you want me to do it? Want me to read
sure.
that?
Yep.
Closed session, District Office Conference Room A, McFarland High School. Motion for closed session under Wisconsin State Statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competition or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Parenthetically, discussion regarding negotiation with the McFarland Community Ice Arena.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Got the H's covering again. All right, so let's do a roll call. Fessler, yes. Howry,
Yes?
Chapman,
Yes.
Huey,
Here.
Fisher. All right, we'll go into closed session at 6:31.
Okay.
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 We made it. We are back. Okay, so we are going to continue our open meeting at 7 PM. And then that takes us to consent agenda items. And tonight they include the minutes from our August 18th meeting, general fund vouchers and purchasing card transactions, not transitions. Certified and co-curricular staffing recommendations as listed on the agenda. So I would entertain a motion for our consent agenda. Fisher, a second?
I can.
Oh,
Meredith?
that was Huey.
I was very excited.
Does anyone want to pull any out for individual discussion?
The only thing I would say is, we did get a great overview of some of the financial information as a board, and I just want to show my appreciation for that, because sometimes it takes a while to get through all that documentation, so thank you. The details.
Yes,
Say
that
that
is,
then, is that?
that's
perfect?
fine, yeah. Yeah, that's a great new report that we're getting, so thank you. Okay, so all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, next, there are personnel items that do not require a vote. And then, do we have any public comments so far? Okay, all right, so then we're at the McFarland High School student report, and I think I see a student up there. Welcome.
You do?
There's
Yep,
Dean.
it's the purple.
Oh.
Dean, if you're talking, you're muted, and we cannot hear you.
Usually it knows the,
Oh, that's true.
doesn't it?
Okay. I don't know.
Oh,
Good
there you go.
evening.
Hello.
Hey, there you are.
Welcome.
How is everyone doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Great.
I'm pretty good. Okay, I'm just gonna get right into this and share my screen, hopefully. So let me know when that comes up. Okay.
Doppelganger.
Okay, this is slow.
That's okay.
We're getting
We
there.
do see it, so that's great.
Yeah, it's
And look at that presentation.
there we go.
There.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Okay. I think we're good to go now. So good evening, everyone. I am Dean Swanland, and thank you so much for having me tonight. It's great to meet all of you. This is the first edition of the McFarland High School Student Report for the 2025 to 2026 academic school year on Monday, September 15th of 2025.
Woo.
Okay, so I wanted to take a quick moment to further introduce myself as well as Anna Cohen and how we are involved in the high school. So Anna Cohen is our senior class president for the class of 2026. She is the vice president of Hope Squad and one of the captains for the girls tennis team. And then I'm Dean Swanland. I am the junior class president for the class of 2027. I'm the communications coordinator for Hope Squad and the executive lead teaching assistant for student services. One quick note I do have to make. Anna and I will usually alternate which of these meetings we take. So once we get to November, it will usually be one a month when you will see us. However, due to scheduling conflicts, I will present the student report at the next meeting in October as well. Because I'm pretty sure she has sectionals for tennis, which is very exciting for her.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to start by highlighting some highlights. So starting off with freshman orientation in late August on the 27th, Junior and senior orientation leaders welcomed the class of 2029 to the high school for the first time. The incoming freshmen were given advice from a student perspective before they were taken on a tour through the entire high school. Representatives from a variety of clubs invited the freshmen to join their groups during the club fair as well as open house. Overall, the day was a great success, and many of the freshmen left feeling prepared.
Awesome.
Next, we have Senior Sunrise. So on September 1st, the senior class of 2026 met at the high school to kick off their final year. They painted the school rock, decorated their car windows with senior and class of 2026 designs, all while bonding over shared high school memories. There it is. This is catching up. Okay. On the following day, they woke up extra early to watch the sunrise over the football field before returning home to prepare for their last first day in high school. Forward here.
I know.
Is this like on time for you guys, or is this behind? Like the
Please.
presentation?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yep. We see the first
Okay,
day,
great.
2025-26 school year slide.
Okay, perfect. So the first day, our lovely staff welcomed students back to MHS. During advisory, our administrative team led an assembly, which included announcements, policy changes, games, and of course, the class cheers. The first day, as well as the first 2 weeks, were very successful, and everyone has pretty much settled into a regular routine. In the next section, I would like to briefly discuss our clubs. So clubs have officially commenced. Many of them are getting right to work, scheduling first meetings and events. With that being said, things are only beginning, so there's not a ton to discuss at this moment. But updates on specific club engagements will come in the future. Where are we? Okay, this is catching up. Okay, so the McFarland High School music program has already marked several important dates on the calendar. The 2025 fall play has been announced. Cast members auditioned on the first day of school for It's a Wonderful Life, a live radio play. They will work tirelessly for the next couple of months before performing in front of audiences from November 6th to November 9th. Starting the second week of school, our choir director, Mr. Paul Gregg, led auditions for the esteemed McFarland Blue Notes, accepting numerous new members on Monday, September 8th. And then the next day, both of our a cappella clubs, Pitch Please and Kittens Mittens, also held up their auditions. Pitch Please includes soprano and alto voices, while Kittens Mittens includes tenor, baritone, and bass voices. This Friday, September 19th to Saturday, September 20th, many MHS choir students will embark on a weekend of fun at the Bethel Horizons Retreat Center in Dodgeville, Wisconsin for the annual choir retreat. Students will spend 30 hours getting to know each other, and this is not a singing retreat primarily, but a bonding one. The primary focus is to build connections between the singers of each of the choirs.
Have we done that before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the choir retreat is an annual thing. I don't know how long specifically, but it does happen every year.
Several years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So on another topic, I do have some news regarding athletics here at MHS. So all of our fall sports are up and running, including football, girls tennis, girls volleyball, boys soccer, cross country, girls golf, and girls swimming. Based on some updates for the recent games, matches, and meets, our football team unfortunately had a tough conference loss to Evansville. Girls tennis lost to Monona Grove and Edgerton, but had a conference win against Portage and did a great job at the Verona Invitational against Verona, Janesville, Parker, and Memorial. The girls volleyball team had a conference win over both Stoughton and Reedsburg, and senior Kayla Landerud achieved 1,000 kills across her high school career, so good for Kayla. Boys soccer had a conference win over Portage, as well as a win over Platteville. Cross country competed very well at the River Valley Invitation. Girls golf competed well at the Reedsburg Mini Conference Meet and a Portage Invitational. And girls swimming had a win over Lodi at a co-op and took first place at the Elkhorn Invite. Furthermore, the McFarland DECA teamed up with the girls volleyball team for their Volley for a Cure match on September 23rd and with the football team for their Blackout to Blockout Cancer game on September 26th. The combined proceeds of these events will go to pancreatic and colon cancer research. At this time, there are a couple of side notes I would like to share. Did someone say something?
Nope,
Nope.
you're good.
Sorry, I'm just hearing things. Moving forward. This year, McFarland High School welcomed 4 new staff members. So to begin, Ms. LaValle is our new high school counselor for last names H through Q. Ms. Gilmore is now our school social worker. Ms. Bradley is teaching physics. And finally, Officer Towns is our new school resource officer. I personally have had the pleasure of meeting each of these wonderful people, and I'm so happy to say that they are all great additions to our McFarland community. In the future, this is kind of like a strategy that my team is implementing. So we plan to routinely reach out to advisors and coaches of each of the McFarland High School clubs, activities, and sports to ask for any information, statistics, events, and or photos that they would like to have featured on the student report. So we hope to bring more information to you at the next school board meeting. But the goal with this is not only are we getting more information, but we're also getting like information handpicked for what they want to share. So that's something that we hope to start before next meeting. With that, we are also always happy to hear and implement any ideas, suggestions, and feedback that you all may have throughout the year regarding the student report. So if you ever do have any feedback for us, we would love to hear it for the future of the student reports, because it's our hope to bring you the most of the student experience here at MHS. So if you ever do have any, just let us know. And then our last section describes kind of like what's on the radar and what will be coming up at MHS. So the biggest event we have coming up soon at McFarland High School is the 2025 to 2026 homecoming. The junior and senior officers of Student Council met in early August to brainstorm ideas for this year's homecoming theme. We brought those ideas to our general council a couple of weeks later, where members voted on the theme Home Sweet Homecoming. This year, Homecoming Week is from October 6th to October 11th. The Homecoming Parade does not align with the Community Parade this year and will instead happen on Wednesday, October 8th at 6 o'clock p.m. And we've estimated that that will end around an hour later at 7:15-ish. The homecoming dance will then occur the night of Saturday, October 11th from 7:30 to 10:30 p.m. on the last day of Homecoming Week. I deliberately chose not to share more specific details right now for a couple of reasons. First, our planning committees are still working to finalize specific details, and there's still a lot to do. And secondly, as you probably know, the next school board meeting is October 6th, which directly aligns with the first day of homecoming week. So at that point, we will have more confirmed information and the timing is more relevant. So stay tuned for that. So there will be a lot more like about the theme and specific details at the next school board meeting with the student report. But yeah, so that is all I have for you for this first student report. I would like to thank you again for your time and for having me tonight. It's been an honor and I can't wait for an amazing year. If you ever need anything from us, again, with feedback, if you want to provide any, our team's contact information is below. So Ms. Bazan, our advisor, or me and Anna as upperclassmen presidents. If there are any questions at this time, I would be happy to take them. Otherwise, I will let you guys move on with the agenda.
I don't really have any questions, but you did a great job, Dean.
You killed it.
Well
I've been through 15 or 16 of this, student reps, and you did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
You have a tremendous future in marketing. I'll just say that.
yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you need anything else from me at this time?
No,
Nope.
thank you for sharing your
think
time
so.
tonight.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Okay.
Thank
Bye,
you very
guys.
much.
Have a great
Bye,
night.
Dean.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Wow,
That was
that man
fantastic.
blew me away.
Right?
Really good.
Like, I want him to do my PowerPoint presentations for my job.
Yep, that was great.
That's good.
All right, so then we are on to the WVA Annual Performance Report with Dr. Sarah Cutler. Welcome.
Hello,
Welcome.
Hi.
Excited.
favorite Monday of the year.
Yay.
Well, that's great.
I'm gonna, share from here as well, hopefully. Let me just try to send all the things. So as I'm getting this up, you can take a look. I'm not going to go through the whole report. It's obviously something I'm going to be posting and utilizing as our annual highlights and just kind of reiterating who we are and what we do in the state of Wisconsin. So as I'm trying to bring it up on the screen, you can just take a look at the first 3 or 4 pages because I'll start about 4 pages in. I have to admit, I'm not super fluent in Google Meet.
It's hard to get
I'm
used
fluent
to all
in
the
a lot
different
of the other
options.
ones.
Yeah, I'm a Teams girl.
No, but it's not in there.
I was Google Meet.
That's Google
Now I'm
Slides.
Teams. And
Like,
Wait,
I remember
There it is.
Skype
Nope.
and
Yeah.
Zoom,
right?
but I've been doing Teams for so long. Like, every time I have to do a Google Meet, I'm like,
Oh,
okay, this
here we
is
go.
freaking me out.
I did window and it worked. What the?
COVID time,
Mm-hmm.
almost all Zoom.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, except that,
Yep.
let's see, doesn't actually,
You just have to do present.
I'll try.
Oh, down on the bottom.
For a slideshow?
Oh, I know. Did it move to present? No, it won't let me do both.
Oh,
So sorry, I'm gonna have to present in that mode, I think.
That's fine.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have, yeah, so.
Yeah.
Those of you here in person obviously have the version right in front of you.
And those that are watching, you should have been here.
The incentives for showing up.
Okay.
That's still pretty good.
All right, so I'm gonna start here on page 6, hopefully. Just a little slow, Dean's right. Doesn't wanna catch up with me.
It is Monday. So
And it's
maybe-
hot.
Although I usually come a little later in the year and it's awfully nice out there. Okay, hang on, got an idea. Okay,
And it's fine if you just want to talk through it.
It's true.
I see. Did it work?
It did.
All right, great. So, I'm going to start here. Okay, that works, kind of, at this page. And what I want to point out is, last year we presented to the whole school this idea of a vision of a graduate. And before that, we have consistently targeted 3 steady targets and a vision of growth, engagement, and graduation, commonly known as the 3 Gs. But this is really our North Star, and that is about a vision measured and student-driven. So this idea of a graduate and a vision of a graduate is what we hope that students will be experiencing when they come to us from all over the state. On the next page, I want to just point out in the highlighted area, oh, this really shows up. There, the 35% of students meeting our targets at elementary, and this is very low. So this is a really large area of growth for us. With Act 20, we've done a lot of reimagining what elementary school can look like virtually. And our elementary principal, I always say, fail fast. So innovate and fail fast. And so she has decided to kind of reimagine elementary school structures where students are really doing small groups in virtual land, which isn't typical in a virtual school. So she hasn't really started coursework yet because she's assessing, and trying to get all those assessments arranged and really putting all her eggs in a basket around really targeted instruction so that students will make higher growth. One thing you know about our school is that our students don't stay with us for 12 years. That is not a typical story. It does happen, but it is not a typical story. So we will have students come in all year and need that assessment, and we're up to 1,000 students at the elementary. So also a big goal of the elementary programming is partnering with LCs or parents, learning coaches, because they choose to have their students virtual. They are choosing to be a partner right there all the time. We're 50 4Kers last year, and our 4K teacher was not really just teaching 4-year-olds. She was coaching families. And we just had wonderful stories about the families who came and learned about early literacy and early math in that way. So the elementary teacher's job isn't just teaching reading or writing, it's really coaching families and partnering with LCs, and that's a big shift. But you can also see some key actions of last year here in our strategic thinking and those personalized reading plans. So the next page, yeah, go ahead.
Was that 35% result just a total shocker?
It was not all year as we were progress monitoring. Britta would say, this is not what I want to see. This is not what I want to see. Like, why aren't we getting better results? So it was a frustrating ongoing process. And just really seeing that when you're delivering whole group instruction with 50 kids, it is not really effective at first, second grade. And so she really is taking her theory of action and making that happen. And it's something that we can do in virtual school is pivot very quickly, as long as you bring along the families and bring along your stakeholders, which I'm very proud of the work we do in that area. Just an aside, an example of that, we started a brand new operating learning system. So imagine you moved buildings, right? So you had to pack up all of your classrooms and move from an old building to a new one over the summer. And then when you got there, it wasn't ready. I worked in Madison for 20 years. This is very typical of the lands I lived in. So that's what kind of happened at our beginning of school. The operating system is brand new. On top of that, we got a new student information system. And this will all be in next year's Power right annual report, because I'm really reporting on last year right now. But so not only are all of our students uploaded in Power School, but we also have to do Infinite Campus. So we manage 2 systems. And so it's just been a bumpy start. But every time I talk to our stakeholders in my parent council group or the staff advisory council, they all say it's been really bumpy, but we're getting through it. To me, that's a huge testament to the culture we've built, where it's not pointing fingers. It's not saying this is bad, and that is a culture I've experienced, and that is not one that we currently have. So I'm pretty proud of that. So that kind of tells you that even with those lower percentage rates, you see people kind of digging in. Now, WEVA middle school and high school, I am really excited to report some growth. So if you look at that beginning of the year to end of year movement in proficiency in WEVA high school, that's pretty significant statistically, that many of students move to proficiency. On top of that, 60% of the students met their growth targets. Awesome. I constantly, that's my big G, right? Like, that's growth is the most important. Yes, we're working toward proficiency, but I count and hold accountable our staff to growth, because that's what you have the most control over when you get them.
The focus has kind of moved to that.
Yeah. And
it hasn't been like that for a long time.
And we could talk about that at another time, Craig, because I've been at the DPI's committee on that. So, but there are pros and cons to it, right? I think that we have we get students who haven't schooled for years. So we can't always say what we don't have, but we can control what we do, and we can control how well we support students when we get them till when they leave us. And so I'm pretty excited about those moves. And you can see some common themes: data-driven instruction, professional learning communities, assessment-driven, student placements. The other thing about virtual school is it's very different than a brick and mortar in that you're not babysitting, right? I mean, for lack of better terms, you're not worried about the safety of students contained in a space. And so you can flex your time in a very different way. You can experiment with time in a different way. And you can experiment with student grouping in a way that doesn't create a social faux pas or a social issue for kids. And so we have a lot of feedback from families who are very happy that their student has been supported at a reading proficiency level that they wouldn't have been because of social anxiety or social norms, right? So we have middle schoolers in particular who come in reading very low, and we work with them with a group of students. This is not typical, nor was it ever in my practice as a brick and mortar, to group those students together. But what we see is a tremendous amount of growth because of that, and amongst peers. And this is different than what you would be able to implement in brick and mortar because of socialization issue.
That high school result.
So that's my most exciting. I almost made Carrie Cherney show up today, but she lives in Green Bay, and I didn't make her because that's huge. 71% of our students making growth. That has not been that way.
Should have been around 10 years ago.
Right.
I mean, there was a shot that we were going to discontinue.
Yep.
Well, you know all that stuff.
Yep.
That's why this is so remarkable.
It's absolutely remarkable. It's remarkable that our graduation rate continues to increase, and it's remarkable what we're doing at high school. And Carrie Cherney is, so had some leadership changes last year, but Carrie Cherney is the lead administrator for 6 through 12. Then we have some assistant leaders at middle and high school. Her continuance and thought and student-centered leadership has really been a testament. She started as a math teacher with us almost from the beginning. So she gets every part of everything, and she's just a phenomenal leader. You wouldn't know that necessarily if you interviewed her, but she definitely shows the results. So you can see these proficiencies with our full academic growth growing, and that 71% met targets. So I also, we've really moved into a multi-tiered system of support. We've moved into supporting students. One of the things that you'll often see, I'm going quickly I'm going to kind of skip to this slide. It's a couple pages, and I'm going to come back. But you always see the students that are withdrawn. And this is something I've been reporting on for the last several years. But in this bottom graph here, you can see that the students who were in the process of being removed because they weren't attending, they weren't passing, they weren't succeeding, and the students who actually came all the way in front of you to be withdrawn is significantly less. And that was a very important strategic change under my leadership, that I believe that not every student fit. They might have thought it was going to work, but sometimes we have to tell them, no, it didn't. But until we say, no, it didn't, we have to have done everything possible to support them and their family. And so,
When you couldn't turn anybody away.
well, we don't turn anybody away ever, except, well, we have had 30 students who have been expelled, already admitted this year. And there has been about a dozen that we have not admitted expulsion students. Main reason that students who, and this is just for this beginning of this year, the main reason is they haven't shown up for their entry conference. If they don't show up for that entry conference, we're not. And the other reason would just be when they get the entry conference, they don't agree to the terms. So those are the two reasons we say no to students who've been expelled across the state. Which is another story we could talk about sometime, is all the reasons kids get expelled across the state and how different it is from Dane County.
Interesting.
So I'm really proud of that. The other thing on this page I want to point out is our special programs data. We have over 24% of our students in special education, students with IEPs, not just special programs. We have 504s, ELL, that population is also growing. We may have to entertain bilingual education at some point. But the students with disabilities who we serve and how well we do that is something I've never been able to experience in brick and mortar because of the lack of resources across the state. And Erin and I've volleyed for this over the years of just equal, reimbursement. You all know the reimbursement rates we get. We're able to do different, able to support them, but they also have somebody at home supporting them. But the way our staff do that and wrap around kids is pretty incredible. I just can't, I'm more and more impressed. So when you look at that increase over the year of the number of students that we've had in special programs, it continues to grow. I think it's a lot of word of mouth out there too. Families and with students with difficulties and disabilities have.
Do you have the right level of staffing to accommodate 4,200?
We're close. We're about 3 short. But comparative to the rest of the state, and just thinking about how desperate we all are looking for special educators who have had a lot of trials and tribulations in brick and mortar find that they can still teach with us and take a break from, it's hard. It's a really hard job out there.
The whole concept is hard. Not only
Craig, we've got a lot to talk about.
I've been here too long.
Yeah,
So good.
there's just a lot out there talking about the full switch to inclusion and whether or not we need to rethink that. So that is kind of out there. It'll be interesting as Erin and I get to spend 4 days with all of our colleagues this week. I'm just going to backtrack a little bit and share just the highlight, just point out Destinations Career Academy. Of course, this has been a huge shining star since I started, and Jen and I kind of co-led and made this huge change. But just over the enrollment progression, just here in the middle of that page, is just an incredible feat amongst itself. And our first full youth apprenticeship with a student in inner city Milwaukee who's working for the city of Milwaukee with operating engineers. It's just a huge amount of growth and excitement in that area. And so the numbers are kind of in here. This picture in the middle is a group of students that we met with in Green Bay, and it's just really, really exciting. And then the next page is Insight, and you all hopefully know a little bit about Insight, but those are mainly juniors and seniors, usually coming with about 3 credits. Last year, you supported and approved us reducing the graduation rate to 15 credits, which is the state minimum. We only get 250 students capped at this school, so it's really the most at-need students in the state. There was a mom who came to us a year ago, midsummer. She had 2 children, was working 2 jobs, and she worked her buns off and graduated early. So she came at the beginning of her senior year, and worked her buns off independently and graduated early. For the first time, we had an early graduate at Insight because she knew all she needed was that diploma to move on in life. So it gives me a little bit of goosebumps to think about
For sure.
to think about those stories. And when you come to graduation, and Megan came this year, when you see Insight's graduation, and Megan and Bruce, you came to the big one, but Insight is a smaller one. They come across with their children. It's very impactful to know there's a place in the state for students who would not have another chance.
Yeah.
I attended the first graduation. I think it was 12 kids, and it was in Waukesha someplace.
Oh, yeah.
It was a heck of an experience.
Yeah. Well, Craig, you're due for another one.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I'm not even sure we're going to fit in Madison College this year.
Yeah, it was pretty tight.
So, but I do get pretty emotional. This is a picture of me handing an award to one of the Insight students a year ago. just really thinking about having early graduates and giving students a different path to success is what we're all about there. So we are on the state improvement plan because graduation is very low. And last year was at 47, but I think we will be in the 50s this year because of that shift. And we're 57 is where we estimate right now. So 10% increase in graduation this year is huge. And so hopefully we'll be able to get off that list. But I always say 57% is 57% higher than zero. And that's, these students would not have graduated.
Absolutely.
The next page is this is the first time all of our schools collectively have gotten to 85% of positive engagement, parent satisfaction. So that's a huge win too. And you can see throughout the report, there's lots of quotes from families. And when you see that 94% of families say, I'm proud that my child goes here, and 92% of families say, I feel like my child belongs here, I think, that's what we all want. We want for every student, no matter what school they go to. So.
People only knew where this came from,
I know, Greg.
where it is today.
Yeah.
I know.
I feel like I'm beating a dead horse.
I know. Well, I will say I've just come a long way in the 5 years I've been here. And so I've only been here a third of the time it's existed. And as Megan announced, we've rebranded to WVA to include all of our academies, Wisconsin Virtual Academies. We're not just WEVA. You can see that we have 3 brands, and I talk about that in the introduction. The next page is our graduation rates, and I did have the older 51 here because I haven't seen that official 57, but with our summer graduates, we're hoping to get to 57 at Insight. Steadily growing there. I do think the post-graduation survey is something this is an area of growth for us. We really want to follow and track our graduates and see if they go where they are pointing out here. We did have a Capitol Day this year where our families went to the Capitol to lobby with a part of a parent program. And this student came to that Capitol Day who was a sibling, and so she's a graduate and is in a med tech program. So just really wanting to track those stories, I think, is an area of growth for us, to find out if these students, so you can see 44% going into employment. And a little different when you're looking at that education is 34%, probably different than the makeup you would see here for graduates. So, however, I always say that we truly are representing the state. If you averaged out all students in the state from Milwaukee to Superior, you would see an equal correlation to what you see at our WBA schools. We are expanding our high school credit. We're going to be partnering with UW Green Bay to do their Phoenix program. Awesome. So students can get a 2-year associates from them. Students can also get currently a 2-year associates from Madison College in business through us as well.
Awesome.
The next 2 pages are our state accountability scores. For the most part, you can see positive trends. Obviously, the strongest to look at is we have a high school. I thought you would all like the tiny little picture there at the bottom.
That's right. Good old Tom Mooney.
That's Sal, who is a student in the Green Bay area, and her story is quite moving. We are planning to proctor virtual test proctoring. We will be piloting it next month if all goes well, and hopefully our students will not have to travel to test, and they can test at home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
That is a huge move, and it's still a moving part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been on your list for a couple years, right?
Yeah. And it's a lot of political maneuvering. So we're still doing some of that. And then finally, the last couple pages. First is our board and their voice in our spring retreat and just what they wanted to see us focused on. So hopefully you see that voice reverberating throughout the report. I think financial health is definitely a positive moving forward, but we're also thinking it's a balance, just as it is for you all, of balancing that asset balance, but also not having too much asset and ensuring it's going back to students and staff. And of course, our staffing is the most, the area of the most spend. And then you've got some great pictures of how our students make great. We have had great news stories throughout the state. And if you go to our website, you can see all of these particular stories around our Andrew and Dylan and Sid, Madeline, and then just other Insight students. So we really are trying to tell the stories of students across the state and why what we do is so important. And finally, just our strategic next steps. So you can see I've already talked about student stories, state accountability, of course, and just hoping. One thing we're really working on with state accountability is assuring that the data the state has is accurate data. And I've found that with how complex it is to report our data through our systems, that even 4 or 5 kids not being correct is impacting. So that's a focus we're doing right now. And then in that yellow box are kind of 10 big ideas that are pushing us to think into the future. And they're just different ways that school can look. And, you know, some of them are a little definitely outside the box. For example, really, we're embracing AI. We're the biggest virtual school in the state. And my message to teachers is if your assignment can be completed with AI, it's not the right assignment. Because I'm using it. So why shouldn't my junior in high school be using it? So it's taking a lot of rethinking, but our teachers have really embraced the idea. We're fully using an app called Magic School. I know some brick and mortars have looked at that as well. So we'll see how things continue to adapt. So any other questions? Of course, I'm happy to welcome Bruce as part of the Voice this year. He'll be going on a big retreat this year in December with us, so I'm sure he'll come back with all kinds of knowledge and reports.
This is the kind of report you enjoy giving.
Yes. I'm not sugarcoating it either. There are areas of growth, and there are areas we're continuing to innovate and make better, have better.
Yeah.
So.
But there has been incredible growth over the last, this is my 4th year on the board, and it's just gone up every year. Like the growth and the changes and everything.
Do you recall what your enrollment was pre-COVID?
Less than 2,000. We'll be over 5,000 this year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's wild.
Something's working.
Yeah, and we are the biggest in the state. We continue to be the biggest. I've formed positive relationships with my colleagues at the other larger, some would say my competitors, but and we just continually really form relationships with our stakeholders and listen. I think that's the parent advisory and advisory council has really taken hold of being leaders in this last year. And I actually would invite any of you who are interested. We will be holding cross-stakeholder rounding, and our board is invited to this once a month, and our family council will be co-facilitating that. And it'll be in small groups, and it's just basically 3 questions. And you go around and say what's working well, what do you want to see improved, and who would you like to give a shout out to or appreciate? We did this already with the board and the parents over this summer, and now we'll be bringing in family council, staff advisory, admin, and board members and everybody will be in small groups.
Awesome.
Of course, virtual. So just really seeing them take that on and being advocates and problem solvers, and not, when I first came, it was, this is a problem, what are you going to do to fix it? So ownership. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Yeah.
being our authorizer. We wouldn't be here without y'all, so.
Very true.
Well, we're happy to do
We
it.
may not be without
Good
you.
partnership.
Right?
Very
That's
true.
also true.
It's a good symbiotic relationship. This stayed up while I closed it out.
Thank you so much.
Close it off, don't forget.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And please extend a thank you to all like the teachers and staff.
True.
Yes.
It takes a village to do all
Oh,
this.
it does,
so
it does, and I can't say
Incredible.
how many times I tout the dedication. We really don't have a staffing shortage.
That speaks volume about your culture.
Yes.
It does, it does.
McFarland in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Mr. District Administrator, it's your turn. Time for your report.
Right. I'm going to start off with the slideshow just for funsies. You can see our kids. I don't know if you saw this. The primary school rolled out the red carpet for the students in the end of that first week. So it's kind of what I'm assured will be a new annual tradition for
Love that.
students. So
Love
it's
that.
really
Yep.
fun way to start the year. We're going to try to use that red carpet any chance we can get, 'cause it's
Yeah.
a special day. Also, you can see for our 4K learners, you often don't get to see our 4K.
Don't joke about money, okay?
It's pretty serious.
Did
Well,
she
you
ask
know.
for like too much of a discount or something, or?
Yeah, yeah, they did, right, and needed the right change there, so pretty serious. But it's nice to get to see our 4K students, especially, this is the group that is actually situated at the primary school. It's the one section that's at the primary school. See them learning. As you saw before, we have our new school resource officer, Officer Towns, started and is just kind of getting his feet wet, understanding the role, a lot to learn, a lot of trainings and things. We are really grateful for the police department for involving the school district in the hiring process and the committee, and also for their mentorship over Officer Towns as he begins. Officer Zietzma is not around, but he is in very good hands with a few, Detective Miller being the main person, a
I
former
take it he's not
SRO.
as tall as Officer Zietzma.
He is not. No, most
Okay.
humans are not.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
statement.
Yep, and
exciting.
continue to be. You can see here at Wabisa that some of the sidewalk chalk to, not a red carpet, but just as fun to welcome students and get them ready for a great start there. The schools are alive and well. A lot of action going on. These are our 8th grade web leaders that welcomed our 6th grade students for orientation. The program is so successful, just a really great way for those 6th graders to start their year being recognized and supported by staff and our 8th graders. So
Those web leaders work pretty hard.
they do. They do it, and they
My
volunteer.
grandson is one, and he spent a lot of time in school preparing
Awesome.
for him.
Yep. Yep. We're so grateful for their volunteerism. See our 8 to 21 program out and about. I think this was at Grace.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And, just really positive to get out and do some community building and do some visits out in the community. So this was, I think you saw this picture and the other one, this is our incoming freshman class. So kicked off very similar to the web program and had a great start. They're a huge, huge group and glad to have them and thankful for our upperclassmen. And then I just get I don't know. They probably were. It probably didn't happen quickly, but this picture I get a kick out of because it makes me think of when you get your team roster, it's team poster, right? So I feel like it should have their games
Yeah.
underneath, right? And then fun facts about the different players. They're so serious.
They really are.
Some are serious, some are less serious.
Yeah,
There's
that's
a wide range there.
very
Mind-holding.
cute. You saw this, and I know we've talked about this, but it's nice to see it when it hit social media. The class of 75 came for a tour. That's them in the Performing Arts Center. We actually had the class of 95 come this past Friday
Oh my gosh.
as well. So word's getting out that you can get tours. So a lot of fun, a lot of stories to tell. They're open books when they go on those tours. You learn a lot of things.
Unfortunately, sometimes.
Yeah,
Like what's the
yeah. Oh, no.
most fun thing? No, or no?
Just, you
Yeah.
know, what I would say is that kids these days might take a few less risks at school than they did, at least among the people that come there. Some pretty good little stories, or maybe they're just confessing about places to hide and things to do and
Oh.
stuffing people in lockers and things.
So how
Oh.
many people remember what would you call it in the middle of the school, that like little wildlife? Atrium. That was here at the high school when we were going.
It's something.
They dumped the possum in there somehow every year.
Don't give anybody any ideas. Huh?
So well, we don't have an atrium anymore.
No, but they can find a possum. All right. So this was at the start of school, the school improvement. So just to see our staff and kind of learning in action here with the staff, and people come back early and work hard. This you've seen this, right, with the meal that the administrative team made together. Thanks again to Kelsey Palmer for that. I just don't know if you saw the pictures or
Those
not.
sandwiches look good.
They were very good. Some of us had more than one. They were exceptional, very tasty. So thanks to Kelsey. Today, I think this week we recognize our IT professionals. So they often are those people that do things so much behind the scenes, and when you need them, you need them. But they also do a lot of proactive things to make sure our network is up and running. They are problem solvers, but they're not just problem solvers, but keeping our data secure and making sure our system is running well. So thanks to them. And in other things, wanted to share a few other things. Just the start of school involves so many things. Obviously want to recognize our mentors, Emily Kinser, our Director of Teaching and Learning, as well as the administrators for welcoming our new staff. And it's so important to get them off to a good start. Our building administrative teams planned really comprehensive, effective 4 days of professional development, while also giving teachers some time and space to prepare their rooms for those first 4 days. Thank you so much to Jeff Mahomey. I do call him Mahomes. That's why.
Homie?
That's why I call him Mahomes. Sorry, that slipped. Jeff Mahoney and Emily Broom, and others involved in making sure our transportation, arrival, and dismissal go safely. There's a lot that goes involved, and through our partnership with Nelson's bus service, really had a successful and safe start to the year. Also wanted to make sure I recognize our administrative team and staff for welcoming our new to the district students. That's a scary thing to start a new school, and they take time to reach out to them and provide them individual information. Our school nutrition department had things up and ready to go on day one. Really outstanding. One of the things that I was just so impressed with was their customer service is so top notch. And I realized that is a huge emphasis. So receive some videos and that led their discussion and their training that they do together. And customer service is a real focus. So you can see that. You can see that. And I'm a recipient of that on a daily basis. So glad to have them back.
Nice.
One of the things I wanted to mention too, including school nutrition, is across the district we're talking about healthy conflict and having healthy conflict. That it's one thing to have really strong collegial relationships, but collegiality only goes so far. You need to, yes, get along, but also be able to disagree professionally and learn and push back sometimes, do it in an appropriate way. So that's a real focus across the district. And interestingly, there's a video we've been showing in different buildings, and school nutrition department also showed that. So it's just kind of a good coincidence. Lots of things coming up this month. It's Attendance Awareness Month and Suicide Prevention Month. We also had 9/11 Remembrance Day last week. Today starts National Hispanic Heritage Month, where we learn about the histories, amazing cultures, and awesome contributions of Hispanic people. from places like Spain, Mexico, and more in a great, exciting way. So we celebrate that all month long. Tomorrow is Mildred Fish Harnack Day. Now, as you will recall, during World War II, Mildred Fish Harnack became a spy and provided important secrets and information to the United States and Allied forces. So we recognize that day and executed by the Nazis. We don't talk about the dark part, but yes, did great things. She gave her life,
Gotta talk
and
about
in
all
the
the
state of
parts of history,
Wisconsin,
right?
all public school districts recognize her tomorrow. And then other things, tomorrow night we have the K-5 Parent Learning Night. It's going to be at the primary school this year from 5:45 to 7 p.m. So if you're able to stop, that's wonderful. Wednesday is U.S. Constitution Day, where we recognize, of course, the document that created the foundation for our country's laws and government. And then Wisconsin Day is on the 18th, where we celebrate Wisconsin history and becoming a state in 1848. As you know, I thought you'd jump in with that, but so celebrating our
I
country.
need the flag. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The 19th is POWMIA Recognition Day, and then Rosh Hashanah starts on the 22nd through the 24th. We do not have school on the 26th, Professional Development Day. I mean, I have school, our staff have school, students do not have school. And that also is the start of the community festival that day. The 28th is Frances Willard Day. Frances Willard was an educator and women's rights activist from Janesville, Wisconsin.
Yep.
And then on the 1st, we have the Youth Center Barbecue Open House from 5 to 7, and then we've got a board meeting after that. So I will stop with all those wonderful things. Do the board members have any recognition for us today?
I would say the only thing is, I was able to attend the new teacher welcome at Angela's before school started, and it was really nice to meet staff and teachers who I have only heard names of, so new and existing, which is really nice. So if I awkwardly introduced myself, thank you for your grace. And it was very nice to see all the bright smiles and positive outlook. So gives me really good hope for another great school year. So thank you to those who attended. And also, Tarnser's Travels #1. Nice job. Looked very nice.
Thank you.
Yes. Well done.
Good.
Well executed.
I forget about that sometimes. Thank you.
I wanted to highlight a couple of things. It's been so long since we had a board meeting that I was like, what happened in the last month? But like I went to the primary school's welcome back night, and when the kids are dropping off their stuff, and it's been a long time since I've been in the primary school, and it was so well run, and these are youngest learners were so fun to watch. Like Brooke and Greg did a great job organizing the event and making sure that people were, or that, you know, teachers were prepared and the rooms were set up. And I love Montessori education. And one of the things that I was reminded about at the primary school was that all of the environments are prepared for them. So it's like to their size. The sinks are lower, the desks are lower. It's, you know, like it just makes everything so much easier. And it was just really fun to see the kids so excited. And I miss those drop-off days with,
They're so full of hope.
they're
And just like,
they're just so,
yay!
yes. And
All of our
Yeah.
schools
mhm,
present so nicely.
yes.
But I think primary might even be a step above. Every time I walk in that school, there's some new, cool kind of, it just really, really looks
together.
nice.
Yeah, it does. It's really phenomenal. And then school photo days, when we had the board table there, and I wanted to shout out Angie for setting that up for us and organizing it and making sure it looked so good, and Erin for making our flyer. But just like parents and family members and siblings dropping off their, you know, their students for picture day, and there is never a line. Like, people were really amazed at how well run it was, so that was impressive. and it was really fun. So I'm just apparently going to keep talking, but it was really fun to an unexpected highlight was that Alex, my son, hung out with me while we were at the booth for one of
Oh,
the nights.
that's right.
And, you know, I've talked about earlier in the year, like how our district is getting better and better at getting our older learners in with our younger learners. So we're getting that that cross action there. And Alex, who participated in a lot of in camp kindergarten and summer school this summer, knew all these kids coming in, and they'd like come up to him and talk to him, and I'm like, who are these kids? And then the other parents were like, oh, I'm sorry. And he's like, no, I know them. And like, it was just really fun to see that connection even continue a month or, 6 weeks after he had actually met with them. So I appreciate that. So
If only our adults could behave that way.
True. That's all I have. I'm done now.
All right.
Okay, one last one, then we can move on.
Do it.
I do have to give Fessler a shout out for being quite squirrely during the
Oh, yeah.
new staff welcome back. She represented the board well, and I thought both you and Erin did a great, engaging presentation and really kicked it off very well. So thank you for setting the bar high. And I got to see Bruce there too, so. First I thought she was nuts. She was a little.
Oh,
I mean, you're not wrong, but
no pun intended.
For the public, I would like to share, the welcome back. The
For those
theme
of
was
you
about not
watching.
chasing squirrels, getting distracted and chasing squirrels. You can call from the movie Up as our example. So our board member was dressed as a squirrel.
it was.
Sweet.
Our board president was dressed as a squirrel.
Sweet.
And we did not rehearse. That was improv.
It was total improv. I haven't even taken an improv class.
Me neither. So.
I know. I did. I pretended I had a very serious phone call and had to leave.
Quite a squirrel she was.
So back to Ronald.
Oh,
All right, back to work.
Thank you, Meredith. It was fun. All right.
Everyone I've spoken to said it's a great start to the year.
Yep.
I went through 3 of the schools, and just everything was kind of up and positive, and
Aw,
it's really a good feeling.
that's awesome. All right. Mr. Mahomes.
Mahomey.
Mahomey?
Mahomes, J-Money, what else you got?
I honestly don't know if I can call you Mahomey
like
from
that,
now on.
Jay.
Like
Those are-
Mahomey just really
It
works.
does.
I know.
It really does.
And both of those are both nicknames that I coined, J Money.
Okay. All right.
I think you need a shirt.
Yeah.
Jay Mahomey.
Oh,
I like J Money.
right.
I mean, it does make sense given his role.
As long as it's appropriate.
Yes.
A little bit.
Well, he's here
Oh,
with
you need me
the
to slideshow.
25-26 budget update
Yes,
for our annual meeting. So
yeah. So tonight you have an action item related to our annual meeting. And this is when we provide notification to the newspapers about our upcoming annual meeting. So, Erin's passing out this lengthy 5-page
I
document.
was gonna say, I'm looking at it right now, and it's pretty quick.
Yeah, there's a 5-page presentation, and we should be able to get through it. I mean, we're almost through the cover sheet.
Right?
thank you.
While Erin's doing that, I will add one more strategic department that should get some accolades. Your payroll, HR, business, student services departments that were very instrumental in making sure that people had contracts and their first paychecks.
That's
And
always
also
big.
did a lot of last minute hiring, and a lot of people in the district office had to just stop and do a lot of things to make sure that there were staff in the buildings, as we had some late withdrawals, we'll call them. So anyways, the whole district office had a lot to do getting
And
started.
insurance changes.
Yeah, insurance changes, that's certainly fun, because that also started September 1. So, people are migrating through a lot of new as employees as well, so.
Yep. Good.
Yeah. Alrighty,
Shout out.
All right, we're already on page 2 of this 6-page document. You've seen this before. Tonight we're at September 15th. We're giving notice of the annual meeting and budget hearing. From another month from now, we'll have the annual meeting in which all of our citizens, including our school board members who are citizens that evening, get to come and vote on our annual meeting. The action item tonight will be a notice of budget hearing and also a notice for the annual district meeting. He's good at this.
You're just cruising.
We're working on it. I'll get a little lengthy on one other topic. Sorry. Annual meeting. So we know it's October 20th, 2025, 7 p.m. for the annual meeting and the budget hearing. There'll be an election of a chairperson. There'll be parliamentarian, which means we'll have a attorney that will be phone a friend if we need them. Minutes of the 2024 annual meeting, treasurer's report, hearing on the budget, adoption of a tax levy, determining salaries for school board members, reimbursement of school board members' expenses, disposal of surplus property, and then also the ability to set a annual meeting for the following year or give that responsibility back to the school board. And then other new business within the powers of the annual meeting, and then an adjournment. So that's what comes up on October 20th.
Usually it doesn't take too long.
No, like I was even surprised last year.
Yeah.
It's
I don't think they can make it long.
no.
My goal is not to do what I used to do, which was closer to about 50 slides. So we're down to, I think, less than 20
Yeah.
the last couple years. So
Amazing.
I think we're doing pretty good. All right, here's the big note. The big final piece, even though we know that enrollment's still coming in, we get finalized with this equalization value, which just distributes where the taxes go. It's state aid. State aid is the top of the conversation, has been ever since our state of Wisconsin did not increase or keep up with CPI or do anything with state aid. And so I just thought it'd be really interesting for when you think about revenue cap minus state aid equals property tax. And, in November and December of 2023, we had to outline where we thought state aid would be coming in as we were progressing through referendums. So when we go back that far, we're not actually too far off from where we thought the state might come in, which was going to be pretty stagnant. But, and how everything shifts between enrollment goes somewhere and different projects take money different places. There are winners and losers in state aid. As we know, in July 1, the state told us we're going to go backwards 4.2%. So that certainly wasn't expected. Not after having 7 years of 5.2% average annual growth. So that makes our estimates a few years back not look as great at all. But the good news is, the only good news I can say right now is there are 4 school districts as of last Friday that are very large outside of Madison that haven't finalized their expenditure audits from last year.
How do you do that?
Well, I don't know. I'm not there. So
True.
I don't,
Give you that.
it's historical, Craig, that there's a very few large school districts that just never can get their financials taken care of. When the state finally can get what they feel is the most accurate, then they'll finalize state aid for everybody, which is October 15th. Last year they had, some big shifts. So we'll see what happens with that. That's why I can't say what our final state aid is until October 15th. But if you were kind of thinking about, boy, we're dropping $700,000 from last year after going up $1 million from 23-24 to 24-25. It was about 900,000. These big swings can take and make any type of projections we provide not that great. It's difficult to be able to share with people that, well, it could have been worse last year. Well, yeah, it could have been $400,000 worse last year if it was closer to what we are projecting, but it was better. Now we're back down again. And if you coupled that with 2.9%, it's as if we're $1 million short in state aid from where the state had been tracking. So it's really come down to our legislature. I don't know what message they're trying to send, other than this is now being put on the taxpayers, even though our state has a good fund balance. There is noise in the newspapers talking about this fall session. I think everybody kind of tries to use that as cover, like we're going to try and do something before taxes go on. It never usually happens. It always is good. So I don't want our public to think that our legislature is coming in with a fall sessions that's really going to do anything. But so with all that good news, we can point to the fact that back in 2023 and 2024, we're pretty close to where we thought state aid might be. I mean, we're off about $400,000. That's better than where we could have been thinking. So we can point to that. We can point to the fact that we were $1 million up between 23-24 and 24-25, even though we're expecting 600,000. So you have some good years, and this is going to be one of those years where more will be on the taxpayers than state aid eating into it more. So what will change? You know, enrollment, we're doing our final counts. WEVA's doing their final counts, so that helps us too. Equalized value, that comes out October 1st. You know, we've had some companies that always send out stuff ahead of time saying you're going to be at 8.2 or 7% or 5%. I think we'll be about the 7%, which is kind of where we thought, you know, things were going to come in. State equalization aid, October 15th, then we get to do the revenue cap and do the final tax levy amounts for our annual meeting. And then thereafter, we start to do revised budgets. And then December, we start that 5-year projections process again. I didn't put that on there, but we take kind of a month off for a moment. Community, Aaron, I think we're going to be sending out a summary budget update that you have as well in front of you. That will go out to our parents and staff and also on our Facebook page, just to kind of remind people of the annual meeting and how the budget comes together. Lots of information. Any questions?
How you feeling? Optimistic?
Well, I'm very realistic on the fact that I'm thankful we still have a revenue cap that at least lets us grow a little bit if the state aid's down.
Right.
Because it could be the opposite, where there's a cap on state aid and a cap on property taxes, which then would just be a cap on anything you want to do to educate your students. So there's been worse years.
We've gotten through.
Yeah.
A lot of it thanks to you. I mean, you're never too far off on, you know, when you start out early in March or April, you know, through this time of year. That's very helpful to a board.
That's true.
I think if all of us could start to read our state a little bit better, that'd be a little bit more helpful, but it's really kind of went off the rails, to be honest.
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
know how they sleep at night.
Or some of them anyway.
Some,
But yeah, Craig, I think, you know, our district's in a good spot. Our community supports the school district. We had successful referendum. We were able to hit targets with our compensation plans for this year. We know what's not in the state budget even for next year, but we know what the second year of the biennial budget is. So that's another positive.
Mm-hmm.
We know what we're
Gotcha.
playing with, which is really kind of the same as this year.
Yeah.
Revenue cap increase with no state aid.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. That takes us into our action items this evening. So our first one is action on the approval of the WIAA Boys Volleyball Cooperative Team sponsorship. Administration recommends approval of the application for the WIAA Boys Volleyball Co-op Team Sponsorship Agreement, as presented to the board. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the WIAA Boys Volleyball Cooperative Team Sponsorship Agreement as recommended by administration.
Second.
All right, Howie. Any questions or discussion?
I'll just provide a little background for the public.
Yeah.
So the Spartan Volleyball organization has been working. They were established in the spring of 2024. And we've had several students interested in forming a boys volleyball program here. They've been active in the club sport and partnering with other districts, and they've showed significant interest from students and participation from students. So this would be, the request in front of the board is for us to enter a cooperative agreement with four total districts, us and Monona Grove, Oregon, and Deerfield. We do have other cooperative agreements, as you know, girls hockey, wrestling, lacrosse. And so this is a bit unique in the sense that this one is we would be the lead school and the fiscal agent for this. Our district has made a commitment to the athletics that we have currently, so adding any additional sport does require that the cost of the program and the budget is not provided by the school district, but is provided through fundraising and through student participation. Otherwise, we just won't be able to have it. And we are very unique in the amount of sports that we have for a district of our size. We have all except for gymnastics. So it's very unique, and we want to provide our kids with as many opportunities as we can, and this is the only way that we think we can do it. We have several students interested and being willing to participate next year, and this is really a testament through two parties, primarily the Spartan Volleyball organization. A very determined group has done a great job partnering with us, and then I would also say Paul Ackley as the athletic director for his leadership in working with them and helping them understand the process so that we can make sure that we don't create a new sport and not have students to participate. So this would be a 2-year agreement, and then it would be reassessed at the end. Other schools may be added, some may leave. Maybe the interest raises so much that we're able to have our own program, or another school is as well. So that's kind of a little orientation. I know you have all that information, but just to provide that for the public. So
Thank you.
Yes.
entertain any discussion and questions the board has before taking action.
I know that they're competing very well with all the opponents that come
Good.
in.
Yeah.
They've played everybody from a JV2 level team to a varsity team. They played the Wanakee varsity boys last week, and they've afforded themselves very well. I think, unless I'm mistaken, Paul, you can help me with this. We have one young man from Deerfield on our boys team currently.
On the
So
club team, yeah.
it seems to be going very well. They get a nice group of people to come watch them, you know, and they market themselves.
Yeah,
Pretty
well organized.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's to echo what you said, Aaron, but just what a small group of motivated people can get done in a short
Mhm.
amount of time, you know,
Yeah.
with a willing partner and Paul Ackley. So I think it's great that we've been able to provide this opportunity and still remain fiscally responsible as a district. So thanks for everyone for being flexible in that. All right, any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. So next, we're looking at the action on the McFarland Community Ice Arena Agreement. Administration recommends approval of this agreement between the McFarland School District and the McFarland Community Ice Arena. So I would entertain a motion.
I will do that. I move to approve McFarland School District and McFarland Community Ice Arena Agreement as recommended by administration.
Second.
Okay, Howry, any discussion, or you want to provide background?
Sure. So
Thanks.
what is before you for your vote tonight is entering into a 20-year agreement with the McFarland Community Ice Arena. Essentially, it is for the district to be able to rent their space for community recreation programming. So with the expansion of the ice arena and a new beautiful space, it offers the ability for us to provide programming for recreation purposes, including adults and before school-aged kids, to use the facility for different recreational activities, whereas we are unable to do so during the school day because we are running a school here and we don't have community spaces unused. So it's a real great opportunity to take advantage and make sure that space gets used well and provides for an authentic need here in our community. So real win, in my opinion, real win-win situation both for the ice arena and for our community members to have recreation program at a beautiful addition to that facility.
All right, thank you. Any other questions about it?
I don't think any questions, just calling out and appreciating, I think, the commitment to moving this forward. As I learned as a new school board member that this has been a long time in the works and a lot of conversations. So thank you to Todd and Jeff for the hard work on this, as I'm sure there are many others. It's a really good opportunity for us as a school district to come together with our community partners and all of us succeed and grow. So thank you for the time and effort it took to create this action item for us.
Agree?
Yeah, their boards have been great partners and the members are very dedicated. Another good example similar to what we're saying about volleyball, just wanting to provide more opportunities for kids, very organized, very driven, and that can make us feel like it's a good agreement for all parties.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, then we have our action on the notice of annual meeting and budget summary to be published prior to the annual meeting. So we are here to hopefully approve the attached budget summary to be published prior to the annual meeting that is, as we know, will be held on October 20th. And we need to do this so that we can give proper notice to the community for posting. So,
You said the 20th?
October
Yes,
20th,
October
yep.
20th.
I'll move to approve the publishing of the budget summary as presented in preparation for the annual meeting to be held October 20th, 2025.
I will second.
Thank you, thank you. All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right, motion carries. So now we're gonna move on to the action on the first reading of some policies. and we can fight over who gets to read all of the policies.
Do you want
in
me to
making-
do it? Because I can do it pretty quick.
Sure, so then you would make the motion.
Okay.
So then you'll have to make the motion.
Okay. I move to approve the first reading of the following policies as recommended by administration. 0100 definition, 0144.5 board member behavior, communications, and code of conduct, 0166.1 consent agenda, 1461 unrequested leaves of absence, fitness for duty, 3120.08 employment of personnel for co-curricular, extracurricular activities, 3431 short-term leaves of absence, 3432 employee sick leave, 4124 letter of reasonable assurance, 4213 student supervision and welfare, 4431 short-term leaves of absence, 4432 employee sick leave, 5112 entrance age, 5464 early graduation, 5451.02 technical excellence higher education scholarship. That's it.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Nice job. Thank you,
You are welcome.
Chapman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Howry. All right, so I think it's worked pretty well in the past if we go through them each policy at a time. I'm just waiting for my notes to pull up here. All right. Well, we can start going through it. So there's the definitions, policy 0100. Does anyone have anything to discuss on that one? Okay, how about board member behavior, communications, and code of conduct? Okay. Yeah. All right, consent agenda. Anything there?
Nope.
That's what we've already been doing, right? And that's,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think I even called out when kind of reviewing it too, that I think maybe you do a really good job of calling out that, for things that we'd like to talk about, bringing those up
Yes.
and not just
Oh.
consenting, so I appreciate
Okay.
that.
Thank you. Yeah, and that was the one thing that I was gonna note in there is that at the bottom of that one, I think is like the actual procedure, like of how to do that, and so I think that's a good reminder. 'Cause I don't know that we knew that we could really do that a couple of years ago, so that's a good thing. To remember that we can always talk about other ones if we need to. Okay, unrequested leaves of absence, fitness for duty. There were a couple of things for this one, since my notes aren't coming up, so maybe Erin, you can tell me, but, this one I thought was a little, unclear about who it was for, and so, just adding administrator, like referencing the administrator definition earlier in the policy. And then Erin pointed out too that it was part of the larger packet is just for administrators. So
Yeah,
it's,
the section is titled, so when you see section at the top of this, now it says 34.2 policies for board approval, and the actual policy that is on our website, it is administration. So it's clear,
Got it.
but one of the things that we can do is just move into that first sentence where it first mentions that render administrators as referenced in the policy, as defined in policy 0100 definition. So to be clear, that specific to administrators. It doesn't change, it's really a technical correction. It doesn't change the content, but content.
yeah. All right, employment of personnel for co-curricular or extracurricular activities, 3120.08. All right, short-term leaves of absences or absence.
And this is one to, policy to rescind.
Yeah.
So what has happened with some of these policies is we're very specific about different leaves of absence for some absences and not for others, and those change routinely through our collaboration with our employee relations committee in types of absences. So that's referenced in our employee handbook and isn't necessary to have in policy.
Yeah, yep, yeah, so these are all rescissions. And I think what makes me feel more comfortable about having the rescission is that not only do we have those, but like there's a process in place for continuing to review the handbook and So without that, it would be harder to, but, okay, so, and that applies to several of the next ones. To sick leave, letter, let's see,
3432.
yep, yeah, so all the way through employee sick leave.
And then you also see those come up in the 4000s, which are the same policies for support staff.
Yes. Yeah, so if there's any, I'm just gonna kind of group those all into one. Does anyone have any questions about that?
What is a letter of reasonable assurance?
The next policy.
That's the
That's
next one.
right.
No, I know, I'm asking, I don't know exactly what reasonable assurance is.
Are we ready to move on to that?
I think so, yeah,
Oh,
I think,
thought
yep.
we were on
We-
something.
No,
no,
that's fine. We
you're
were- I
just
was-
a step ahead of us.
I was grouping
I
them,
see.
so it's fine. So the letter of reasonable assurance. Do you want to talk about it a little bit, Aaron? Or do you
Sure.
want- Okay,
Yeah, and so that is basically saying it's a guarantee of employment. Reasonable assurance that you're
Hmm.
continuing your employment.
from one end of the school year to the beginning of the next. Kind of covers that summertime period,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Got you.
But this, yeah, I can see this could be a real problem, I mean, with the budget situation we're in. That's what you're saying, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it's more a policy change for clarity. It's not,
Yep,
not
No
a
actual
change in
changes.
current practice.
right. All right, any changes or questions there? All right, so the next one, 4213, student supervision and welfare.
This is one I was not real clear on. This is for support staff, right?
Yeah, I had to ask the same.
Yes.
I wasn't quite sure of this,
Yes.
And Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think my understanding, just to take off the heat of you for a minute, is that it was more aligned with making sure that staff don't take on duties that they aren't trained or prepared for.
Correct.
And if they do, they're still completely responsible for any outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Just like if
Mm-hmm,
you had been assigned that same task.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Yep.
makes sense. What concerned me, having been a teacher, there are times where all of a sudden you need to just make sure there's someone there. And that was my concern is, there are just emergencies where all of a sudden you're not necessarily trained to do what you're doing, but you gotta be that person who's in that situation.
But there are subs that teach,
Well, this isn't even sub, I'm just talking about, there are just situations where it happens, where all of a sudden, can you be here, can you take care of this? And you go, well, I'm not trained, what do you, that was the only thing I was concerned about. And how do you avoid that?
How do you avoid that?
Well, I don't know how you can avoid.
I mean, if you're talking about in the case of emergency, that's one thing.
Okay, so that.
But I think
that's
what
my-
we're talking about
Okay,
just
that-
common duties
that's
that
what-
someone may be
that's
asked
what
to
I
do.
wasn't sure of.
Yep.
regular daily planning
Okay,
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
All right, good question. All right, so then the next, short-term leaves of absence, and again, I'm gonna kind of group the next two,
Mhm.
4431 and 4432.
Right.
Those are the rescission ones. Any questions there? Okay, great. Then we move on to 5112, entrance age. Okay, sounds like nothing there.
The only question I had about that, I mean, it adds that they have to meet residency requirements. Isn't that always been the case?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, again, it's, a lot of these policies just for the public's benefit. The revisions are often due to a change in a statute or a lack of clarity, so
Mhm.
providing more clear and updated language. And they often emanate from someone that thought they were following a policy and you realize, oh,
Mhm.
that's not what we meant for that.
Yeah. We better change the language.
So,
Yep. And I think the benefit we've been in this regular process of review.
yes,
now that we've reviewed a lot of these already within the last 3 years, and so the changes are not as significant, and,
Much less cumbersome.
yeah,
That's the goal.
yep.
No, it's really good at doing this.
Okay, so then, anything else for that one? All right, so then early graduation,
I thought this was, it was, again, something that was needed. Makes sense.
Yeah,
For
so
the
the
cha-
change is for the public is, it basically just says if a student does graduate early and continues to participate in things like, let's say, the graduation ceremony, they still need to follow school
Right.
rules.
Yes.
Can't be like, I'm graduated, what are you gonna do?
right?
Well,
Right.
and you can imagine, there's probably a story behind why
Probably.
our consultant, recommended this change.
Right. Okay, and then the last one that we have is 5451.02, the Technical Excellence Higher Education Scholarship. And this is another one, well, for me, it feels like it's not being rescinded, but there's so much detail that was taken out. And that, as Aaron confirmed for me, is just to make updating it more simple because we have the actual criteria that's elsewhere and gets updated more regularly in the right place.
Yeah, we already follow the guidance provided by the Higher Education Aids Board. And so that may change slightly from time to time, and then we don't have to go back and change our policy. We just say we follow what they do.
Yep.
And we can, of course, change that at any time as well, if they.
Yep.
Okay?
All right, so what I'm hearing, normally we have some changes that we have to do from now until the second reading. But just to summarize anything that came out of this, we don't really have any. So,
Correct.
we'll,
That's okay.
yep, that is
I'm okay
okay.
with that.
Yeah, that's great. That's
There's
great.
nothing wrong with that.
All right, so then I would, we're ready to vote. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. And then, let me just double check, but I think we're ready for adjournment.
I second.
All right,
M&M in full effect.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned at 8:37 PM, my friends.
Well done.